This is the Weekend Review. Now, let's take a look at some of your stories as, of course, we try and bring you some of those live proceedings from the funeral of the late songstress, Miss Zahara. Here are some of the stories here. A young singer from Inanda Township, north of Durban, has become an overnight sensation after being recognized by American singer and songwriter Chris Brown. 17-year-old Naledi Myongwane has been credited as one of the writers on Chris Brown's new album, titled 1111. Naledi's video of her singing in isiZulu went viral on social media and got the attention of the award-winning musician who later sampled her song. And our reporter Simpiwe Makhanya and video journalist Noam Hlengobane paid the young singer a visit.
There is this video of the young singer backed by her classmate that went viral on social media. Shortly after it was posted, award-winning American singer Chris Brown shared the video on his social media page. Naledi Myongwane hails from Inanda Township. The grade 11 learner says all this feels like a dream.
There are many talented musicians in the world who can sing way better than me. The fact that he chose me proves that I'm also gifted in my own way.
In Chris Brown's latest project, he sampled Naledi's song and credited her as a co-writer. She had this message for Chris Brown.
I love him so much. I'm extremely grateful. I really do appreciate what he has done for me. I can see the difference in my life already.
Naledi has already started working with local artists and hopes to release her own music one day.
I am really happy for my daughter, and I just want to see her succeed in doing what she loves doing. I also want her to remember that school is very important. She must make sure that she prioritizes education as well.
The young singer says she will use some of her earnings to erect a tombstone for her late mother. Naledi says her biggest wish is to meet the American singer and possibly share a stage with him. For now, her local music fans can get to listen to her song and share in her moment of international fame. Simpiwe Makhanya, SABC News, Inanda.
About 719 people have died in road fatalities in the first 3 weeks of December, a number that Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga says is a slight decline from the previous year of 751. Chikunga released the provisional festive season road statistics and provided a midterm update on the country's road safety awareness campaign.
In her midterm brief, the minister expressed her concern about the picture that these early road traffic statistics are showing. She says the biggest culprits are speeding, no seat belts, no driver's licenses, unlicensed vehicles and smooth tires. The extended long public holidays are also of concern as they've led to an increase in the festive season traffic, with weekends contributing to about 70% of all recorded traffic accidents. Since the 1st of December, 423 roadblocks have been conducted in the country, over 7,000 vehicles checked and more than 3,000 infringements found.
We are concerned with this long weekend. I'm a Christian. I should be very happy about the Christmas weekend. Indeed, I will find time to go to church. However, we are so concerned about the heavy drinking that is happening and therefore the many misbehavior that happen on our roads, particularly in the residential areas.
The minister expressed her concerns over the road traffic statistics. This is despite a decrease in crashes of 0.8% compared to the same period last year, leading to a 4.3% decline in fatalities. The minister says that Gauteng has experienced the highest number of incidents, followed by KwaZulu-Natal.
Gauteng has recorded 187 fatalities which is a 23.8% increase compared to last year. Because last year they were at 151, which means that this year they've added 34 dead bodies. Number 2 is Mpumalanga, which recorded 81 fatalities, which is a 6.6% increase compared to last year. And last year they were at 76, which therefore means that this year they are 5 fatalities up. Third is Limpopo, which has recorded 88 fatalities, which is the same as previous year. They were at this moment at 88. KwaZulu-Natal has recorded 135 fatalities.
Over 3,500 motorists were arrested across the country for various road offences.
Our law enforcement officers conducted 423 roadblocks nationally, in which 753,823 vehicles were stopped and checked. A total of 173,307 infringement notices were issued.
Chikunga has urged motorists to be extra cautious and vigilant on the roads this festive season to avoid unnecessary crashes and reduce fatalities. Nozindombi Mia, SABC News.
One person has been killed and 6 4x4 vehicles have been smuggled into Mozambique around the Ematakanyeni area near Kosi Bay border gate on the KwaZulu-Natal north coast. Well, this is according to the Jozini Community Policing Forum, and that's despite police deployment in the area to fight cross-border crime syndicates around Umkhanyakude district municipality.
The Umkhanyakude area has been battling cross-border crime for more than a decade. Killings, carjackings and smuggling of contraband among top crimes in the area. In July, police returned 63 of the 120 hijacked vehicles that had been smuggled into Mozambique. 103 people, including an alleged kingpin linked with the syndicates, were arrested. According to a local community policing forum, one of the hijacking victims had been killed and 5 more people have had their cars taken to Mozambique.
Some of these incidents occur during the night when police are not on their border post. Cars are still being smuggled and people are still being killed. Just recently, there's one person who was hijacked and his car was taken away. Our appeal is for our government to ensure that they have bilateral engagements with their counterparts in Mozambique so that they will come up with a solution to stop the market for these stolen vehicles.
Police say there are still pockets of hijacking incidents, but their deployments remains intact in the area.
We're still containing the crime in that area. We're still pretty much present. There will be incidents there and there that will be happening, but it's not alarming enough for us to be worried and then say there's a crisis. So we have not reached that stage as yet. But we're going to continue engaging community. We've got a lot of community structures. We've recently had Imbizo in that area just to listen to the views of the community.
Police have been beefed up in hotspots areas such as Umkhanyakude and will remain on high alerts well beyond the festive period. Vusi Kumalo, SABC News, Durban.
More than 80 people have died in Limpopo since the start of the festive season holidays. 2 people lost their lives on the N1 following a horrific crash on Thursday. At least 15 passengers survived without injuries when their minibus taxi overturned and caught fire. Authorities have said traffic at the Beitbridge border post in Musina remains under control.
The N1 in Limpopo has been recording high traffic volumes. The province roads serve as a transit way to many neighboring African countries. Transport authorities say most toll plazas in the province were reporting over 1,000 vehicles per hour. The gates at the Grand Scope Plaza were open to ease the traffic congestion. The road fatalities are also increasing. Recently, 15 passengers survived with injuries when their minibus taxi lost control and overturned before catching fire. Motorists want high visibility of law enforcers. We want traffic authorities to be visible so that motorists can drive with caution. We need to stop traveling late, even though during the day it gets hectic. But up to so far, we understand because it is festive season and it's busy.
Something that we tend to understand because every festive is clearly busy.
Meanwhile, traffic volumes were under control at the Bedbridge border post in Musinam. The border management authorities say they have arrested a number of undocumented foreign nationals who were crossing the border post. Mahlatsi Paladim, SABC News, Polokwane.
2016, then we lost touch with young people.
Let's go back to maybe what we did right as a country.
In the times when we were dealing with things right, we were caring about young people, underline caring about young people.
I think as young people, they're dealing with so many more different problems and issues than we did 10, 20, 30 years ago. And they don't have the tools necessarily to cope.
So it's extremely important then that we release the children from the shackles of only English. We release the children from the shackles of being separated from the grown-ups. We grew by having intergenerational dialogues.
Join me, Naledi Muleo, on Media and Society every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the SABC News channel.
From the seventh wonder of the world. Whether it's land, at sea, the choppy waters of the unknown, we bring you up to speed with the latest news, traffic, and of course sports news right here on Morning Live.
To all the fun moments in life as we put the hip and the hub into your step and bring you the fun right here on Morning Live.
And not forgetting the reality of daily life. And we're here to challenge corruption in seeking the truth. My name is Leanne Manus, serving you everything you need to make your mornings better. I'm Sakina Kamwendo and we bring you the latest news.
Catch myself, Wosiwe Nobo, as we bring you all the latest sporting highlights.
Voted your trusted news station. Tune in every single weekday between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. on SABC News and SABC 2.
Welcome back as we continue now to review the stories of this week. Police in the Northern Cape say they are quite confident that they will turn the tide on illegal mining. All this following the deployment of more police as well as SANDF members in an operation dubbed Vala Imigodi, which loosely translates to closing open holes. Police say the operation will mainly focus on areas that are notorious for illegal mining in the province.
With illicit mining seemingly on the rise across the country, police in the Northern Cape have vowed to clamp down on activities of illegal mining. Since the beginning of the year, numerous operations were organized which resulted in the arrest of hundreds of Zamazamas. In Kleinzee, police arrested undocumented Mozambicans, Zimbabweans, Lesotho nationals and South Africans who were illegally mining diamonds at an abandoned mine. The high-risk activity has not been without casualties. In August, 8 bodies of illegal miners were retrieved from under a mining tunnel near Kleinzee after a makeshift tunnel collapsed. In previous years, the same fields have claimed lives.
The problem is all the mining camps and sections given to us. The mine management is closing them off. This means we cannot work and put bread on the table for our children.
We are here to work because we have the people who depend on us, who need everything on us, who they put all their needs on us. So we are here to solve that problem, not that our family only, even the people who we live surrounding.
They want money, food, they want food, they're hungry, people want food, you understand? And the diamond is long, it's down, it's deep. So we would like to have opportunities, that they can create opportunities because we are taking out the diamond, that they can train people and help us get safety and equipment. And we can be miners. Why do you want to take people from China to say, well, the people are here that you can train and they can be miners here and they can work here?
Residents living in Kleinseer and Port Noloth lament a surge in criminality which they blame on illegal mining. They accuse police of turning a blind eye on criminal activities conducted by the Zamazamas. Police say the deployment of SANDF members is assisting in this fight. Last month, President Cyril Ramaphosa authorized the deployment of over 3,000 soldiers to help combat illegal mining.
Lieutenant General Kolisa Otola stressed the importance of safety of our communities and the members performing these duties. She requested members and all involved in these activities to be vigilant, professional, and act within the ambit of the law when executing their duties. She emphasized reinforced police community relations in fighting crime and encouraged members of the public to report any criminality to the police.
The deployment of army will last for 3 months. This is to address illicit mining operations. 2 venue operating centers have been established in the Francis Bad and Namakwa district. Tabiso Khadebe, SABC News, Kimberley.
Meanwhile, interest groups in the mining sector have noted what they say is a military-style response to illegal mining in South Africa and other governments. Global Community Miners Forum says this approach has worsened matters in the mining sector. The forum aims to establish a global miners network to tackle challenges that are faced by informal miners. Now, this network seeks to give miners recognition, influence, and a voice against a pushback from authorities. The forum has also pledged its support to miners who face criminal charges. Local grain farmers expect a bumper harvest season despite the risk of extreme weather patterns. Weather experts have reported the observation of El Niño conditions. They forecast that these conditions will persist from this December to February next year. Now, this projection comes after a 3-year dominance of the cooler La Nina pattern. El Niño is a naturally recurring climate pattern marked by warming of the Pacific Ocean, leading to worldwide shifts in the weather patterns.
We are looking forward for a good season. As you know, that the expected El Nino that was forecast, but recently we've seen that we received a good rains, and these rains actually they're adding on the previous season that we have a good moisture for our farmers, and we believe that this opportunity that we got to plant before we get El Nino will be able to make sure that we continue to have a good crops for the coming year so that South Africa continue to have its own food that is produced locally, and we continue to feed our people. So I think for us as SACRA, we are currently hard at work to make sure that our farmers, they don't miss any planting season.
While farmers are excited about this coming planting season for white and yellow maize, climate conditions continue to threaten food security. Agricultural economists say should the current favorable rainfalls continue, this will result in a robust export volumes.
If the rainfall remain as favorable as we expect, this will be a good not only for grains but for all agricultural products, which means then that we may continue to see some solid export volumes that we may have as a country. So far in the current year of 2023, we do think that the exports will still remain robust, even though they may decline a little bit from the record $12.8 billion. Part of that record value was the fact that crop prices in general were high. And for 2023, we did see that crop prices coming down a little bit.
In 2022, the country's agricultural exports reached a record $12.8 billion, up 4% from the previous year. Economists say this considerable success in a year of logistical challenges is commendable. Despite these results, the Department of Agriculture, together with the Department of Trade and Industry, are urged to focus on deepening trade with other countries such as China.
we're very optimistic about the markets that are opening up on BRICS, and we think that the South African government should actually work hard to deepen trade with China as well as in India, and even in the new added countries on a BRICS plus, particularly Saudi Arabia. We view those countries as important from a commerce perspective in agriculture because of their large population and a strong buying power. And we think that we should be able to see more products accessing those markets.
At the same time, the South African Grain Association says BRICS relations is a positive move for local emerging farmers.
This is an opportunity for our farmers, and we really welcome any export opportunities that we have. So as SACRA, we believe that this will allow also our black farmers to participate in these opportunities that are out there for export. So we really welcome this opportunity, because it shows that as South Africa, we are ready to continue to export our excess maize to other countries that they need it.
In October, the South African Weather Service warned that South Africans can expect more hotter summer than usual. It forecast above normal minimum and maximum temperatures in the months ahead in certain key areas in the country. It further warned farmers in areas that will potentially be affected by dry and very warm weather conditions to practice soil and water conservation, proper water harvesting and storage, establishing good drainage systems, and other appropriate farming practices. Notando Makutulela, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Get in touch with SABC.
Welcome back. Let's look at international news now. The UN Security Council has adopted a resolution calling for a big increase in aid delivery to civilians out in Gaza, but it has stopped short of calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Instead, the Security Council has urged the creation of conditions for such a truce. Now, this follows days of talks to avoid a US veto.
The United Nations Security Council on Friday approved a bid to boost humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. But the proposal was stripped of language calling for, quote, an urgent and sustainable cessation of hostilities in order to allow aid deliveries after the United States threatened to veto the motion. Instead, it calls for steps to, quote, create the conditions for a sustainable cessation of hostilities. This change frustrated other UN members.
We know this is not a perfect text. We know only a ceasefire will end this suffering.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Friday said Israel's operation was the primary obstacle in delivering desperately needed assistance.
A humanitarian ceasefire is the only way to begin to meet the desperate needs of people in Gaza and end their ongoing nightmare.
Nowhere is the dire need for aid more apparent than here in Deir al-Balah, in the Gaza Strip, where a school has been transformed into a field hospital. Aid trucks lined up at the Kerem Shalom crossing from Egypt into Gaza on Friday. Israel says since the start of the latest conflict, more than 5,400 vehicles carrying humanitarian aid have been allowed in.
Our war is with Hamas, and we seek to reduce the impact on the people of Gaza. Since the beginning of the war, we have set up several mechanisms for continuous assessments of the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip.
Israel launched a massive military retaliation against Hamas fighters after the Palestinian militants attacked Israeli communities on October 7th, killing 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and taking hundreds captive. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government has vowed to eradicate Hamas. Washington has regularly backed Israel's right to defend itself, but has grown increasingly concerned at the suffering of Gaza's 2.3 million people.
2023 has been quite an eventful year on the international front. We've seen conflicts, elections, as well as other major developments with far-reaching implications for the world. SABC's Kailihle Kumalo takes a look at some of those highlights.
2023 got off to a bad start for Ukraine as the war still rages on. In fact, Russia says it remains undeterred with its special military operation. The Kremlin has been slapped by the West with sanctions for invading its neighbor.
Putin thought Ukraine was weak and the West was divided. As you know, Mr. President, I said to you in the beginning, he's counting on us not sticking together. He was counting on the inability to keep NATO united.
You have to understand that there is nothing. They destroyed everything. There are no buildings. It's a pity, it's tragedy, but for today, Bakhmut is only in our hearts.
A group of African leaders also went to Ukraine and Russia, calling for the two nations to negotiate. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa led the peace mission.
We're not the first group that is calling for a peaceful settlement, that has articulated the issue of respect for the sovereignty of countries. Many others have, and so we are also reiterating what has been said. And another key element that I spoke to was that there should be security for all countries, and indeed both countries. They should have a sense of security that their own sovereignty and standing is also secured.
The proposals coming from the leaders of different countries from different continents, they are very important for the foundation that needs to be built. But it has to be built around the peace formula offered by Ukraine, because it was the country that was faced with an attempt to occupy. We understand in a very detailed manner all of those crises, and of course we are willing for the majority of the countries from different countries to engage.
We remain hopeful as South Africa that the conflict and war between Russia and Ukraine will be settled through a process of negotiations. You would be aware that South Africa has been participating in these peace workshop meetings, which have involved Ukraine, and in particular Ukraine's proposals on what conditions they would demand should there be negotiations.
Here in Africa, Sudan also plunged into a political crisis this year. The Sudanese armed forces and the rapid support forces are engaged in an intense war, and the humanitarian catastrophe has worsened.
The regional organization, IGAD, acted immediately, constituted a committee of heads of state to engage with the Sudanese to stop this fighting. But those generals did not listen. They didn't listen to the regional body. So in the end, the Americans originally intervened to ensure, to evacuate their own people. But in the end, they teamed up with the Saudi Arabia to negotiate this current agreement of a limited cessation of hostilities to enable humanitarian assistance to be delivered.
We're very worried about the situation in Sudan and the great increase in harm to ordinary civilians, Sudanese citizens, very, very bothered by that. I believe that through IGAD, a great deal of effort has been made to try and bring the two parties together. But at every point where it had been anticipated that the two leaders of the different forces that are fighting would come into a room to discuss ending hostilities, one or other has not turned up.
Tensions are quite high in the Middle East following the 7th October incursion in Israel led by Hamas, where 1,200 people died. Israel then declared a war, and the Israeli Defense Force has been pounding Gaza. This has created a humanitarian catastrophe in the Strip, with scores of people left dead.
Today, the people of Israel are under attack, orchestrated by a terrorist organization, Hamas. In this moment of tragedy, I want to say to them and to the world and to terrorists everywhere that the United States stands with Israel.
What is unfolding in Gaza is a genocidal onslaught and slaughter of the people of Palestine. That the world can stand by and countenance the collective punishment that is being meted out against a people where more than 20,000 people have been killed.
Meanwhile, South Africa also hosted the BRICS summits in Johannesburg. The influential bloc expanded, and countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia and others joined BRICS.
We have noted that there is global momentum for the use of local currencies, alternative financial arrangements, and alternative payment systems. As BRICS, we are ready to explore opportunities.
South Africa's neighbor Zimbabwe went to the polls in August, and incumbent President Emmerson Mnangagwa won the elections. But the regional body SADC's observer mission released a scathing report accusing the electoral body of Zimbabwe of failing to meet the regional and international electoral standards. The Democratic Republic of Congo also went to the polls, and the country is facing a myriad of challenges, including the insecurity in the eastern DRC. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates hosted the annual climate change talks, COP28, and the gathering reached a final consensus on a historic climate deal to bridge the gap on adaptation, reimagine global finance, and seek to deliver on loss and damage.
As South Africa, we applaud the landmark decision of COP28 to operationalize the new fund on loss and damage, and we also welcome the pledges that have already been made. If this fund is to effectively support those countries most vulnerable and that are affected by climate change, we need to mobilize more funding in a much greater scale.
Kyle Kumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Dihambile, dibonile, bandixelele, bandinikile.
And back to our top story now. The late multi-award winner singer Bulelwa Zahara Mtukutana is being laid to rest in East London today. Scores of dignitaries, including those in the music industry, paid their final respects at the ICC out in East London early on. Let us now take a look back at the song Stress's life.
On December 11, the news of the passing of much-loved, multi-award-winning Afropop sensation Zahara emerged. The 36-year-old passed away following a brief illness in a Johannesburg hospital. Hers was a story of triumph despite all odds. Born in the rural Eastern Cape in Pumlani, Zahara came to Johannesburg to find much fame and success in the city of gold.
I'm from the village. I'm a Lali girl.
Her journey into the spotlight began when she was discovered by the former record label executive, TK Nxiza, who discovered her at a pub in East London called Talamanca in 2009.
Nelson Mandela, Tata Madiba.
I went to a club called Talamanca, which was owned by a friend of mine. As we were chilling there, I think it was on a Thursday, I could hear this song, but I was not sure if I'm hearing it from radio or somebody is performing it. Somebody said, no, there's live performances, come this side, guys. Because there are not a lot of people, maybe there were 50 people. Young girl, her name is Spinach, sitting down, wearing a viela, skirt, playing her guitar there. I immediately knew she was a star.
In 2010, Zahara was flown to Johannesburg to start her career as a professional musician. In 2011, she took the country by storm when she released her debut album Loliwe, which was certified double platinum. It became South Africa's second fastest selling album after the 1997 record Memeza by late music icon Brenda Fassie.
Chief, let me tell you something, you've never seen anything like that in your life.
So when she played Lollywood, like fireworks, boom. It's like it's as if the fireworks is linked with the song. So it made a huge spectacle.
There were fireworks, they were firing right there on stage as if they're doing that grand entrance boom. Because people did not leave. When they heard my sound, they were all there. And then I did Uloliwe.
Zahara went on to win multiple awards for her hit album Loliwe, including 3 Metro Awards and 8 Summer Awards.
Best Female Artist, MTN 18, Nana Sepumlani, Zahara!
Her success continued with subsequent releases of albums such as Pendula, Country Girl, Godi, and Ngabayam.
Should I say ladies first?
And in August this year, she released her 6-track EP titled Woman of Power. As her star rose, Zahara made headlines for the wrong reasons, as she succumbed to depression, alcoholism, and she also battled financial difficulties.
I never wanted to do interviews. I never thought that, okay, me singing, I have to be on TV, I have to be on radio. So it was all too much for me, people judging me when they never even met me. Yeah. And then I don't have friends. So what do I do when I fall down? What do I do? Yes, I used to pray. I used to do all these things. But what do I do? Okay, get that glass of wine so that I can sleep. Because I feel like I'm stepping on somebody's shoes, me being here. But I just came to sing.
Despite it all, her talent remained. In her career, Zahara won 17 South African Music Awards and multiple Metro FM awards. She was recognized in Nigeria and was included on a list of 100 most influential women in the world in 2020 by the BBC. Zahara's impact extended beyond music. She also served as the ambassador for the Nelson Mandela's Children's Hospital. And earlier this year, she gave her supporters a front row seat to her life when she let cameras in for her debut season of her reality show, Zahara As I Rise. In many of her interviews, she always maintained that her ultimate purpose in life was to inspire people and give them hope, and that's what she's given to South Africa and the world. Zinzi Swamani, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Well, farewell to the strong stress, the Kawela Makawe, Zahara, Bulelwa, Mkutukana. Farewell, Ntokazi. That is where we're going to leave it today with the Weekend Review. Thank you so much for joining us. Do have yourself a wonderful afternoon further. For myself, Alicia Jali and team, goodbye.